Well, I've put off making this video long enough, but today we're going to talk about Une Vie, Peindre from Clair Obscur. It is one of the best final battle medleys of all time in the way that it references material used throughout the game and its significance, and it's just so good. This is going to be a deep dive talking about it, so this is your spoiler warning. If you have not beaten the game, do not watch this video. We are going to be talking really in depth about the context of this music, so please don't ruin it for yourself and just come back later. Here we go. Goosebumps every time. Goosebumps every time. Sorry to stop it there, but we are going to talk about this section by section. So this part first appears in-game in that incredibly epic moment where Aline returns to the canvas, and whew, gosh, what a powerful moment. It's a very simple chord progression that just kind of builds up through repetition with that just tingling bass on the bottom. This little opening here, it's funny, but it reminds me of the sounds that an orchestra makes when it's tuning. Like, you know, everyone's just playing a bunch of notes at the same time. It kind of all melds into one little thing. It's kind of like it's setting the stage for what we're about to hear. That low bass. So the cello doubling. Voice is up higher now. It's so simple, but of course this theme that we hear all the time. It's just such a high energy section, right? It's very anime-licious. It just really embraces that anime music and a JRPG genre kind of thing. Of course, it's also got that like prog element to it. And if you listen carefully, you can also hear Aline's theme tucked in here. I'll show you where. This oscillating between C minor and D flat, the flat 2. We hear this a lot. Super high energy choir. Key change. Listen to the accompaniment. Do you recognize it? Sorry guitar, but we're gonna stop it here. If you watched my video on Dechire la Toile, you heard me talk about this dum bum 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 bum, which was all throughout the accompaniment in that part right there. It appears in Dechire la Toile and a lot of other tracks, as well as the da 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 motif. A lot of tracks in this game, so it's already being recalled here. In addition to that, this vocal melody here. Da, 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 da. This is going to be referenced later on in this track. It's kind of already hinting at the contour of a line that we heard in Visage. Da, 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 da. We hear this more prominently later on in this track, and I'll point it out then too, but it's already kind of being hinted at here. Extra bar. All right, so this section obviously is continuatime. Previously, we hear this in Une Vie, but in that one, it's kind of like in this quick 3-feel. Da, 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 da. But here we get in a very strong 4-feel. Da, 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 da. It's very heavy. And the other neat thing about this is, besides the fact that this moment in game will forever be etched into my brain chemistry forever, the way that it is used in game, they have the timing of the cane sound on the beat right before the downbeat, and that perfectly times with the changing of the scene. I just cannot get over that. It still lives rent-free in my head. And at first I thought it was weird that they were timing it with the beat before instead of like on the downbeat, but it actually really makes sense because changing the scene on the beat before means that the scene is revealed on the downbeat, and it's just so good. And also, to add to the drama here, there's a full extra bar between each of the repetitions just to add even more anticipation of what's coming next. Extra beat here. Extra bar. Another really neat thing about the way that this is structured is da 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 da. This is the melody line that we're used to hearing because sometimes it's in thirds. This is the top line. Then the second time it repeats, and Victor Borba does that same exact way. But then the third time where they sing together, instead of da da da, singing da da da, it drops down. And that's actually the harmony line. Da 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 da. It's just a neat way to flip it on its head and add more interest to repeating something 3 times in a row. I love also the way that, and of course this was also the case in Une Vie, but I didn't have the context for it back then. The fact that she sings, then he sings, and then they sing together, but it's really at each other, which of course is going to be a theme throughout this whole track. And speaking of themes throughout the track, so this is one of a trilogy, right? And I find it really interesting how each part of the trilogy, they have their own kind of musical identity and themes that they center around that are thematically appropriate. Une Vie is mainly based on Continua T'aimer and also other themes that have to do with Renoir. Une Vie is centered around the themes that relate to Alicia and Maëlle, and Une Vie Peindre is like the backbone of this track is based on Our Painted Family and Aline. And it's just so appropriate when you consider the context, right? Because more than any other track, you know, this is the one that is about their family and the struggle that they're having about it. Our Painted Family is also a track that is closely associated with the manor and with the curator, who is actually real Renoir. So it just feels very appropriate that it is kind of the main battle theme for the curator, you know? There are a lot of other track references, but I just kind of wanted to put that in your mind as something to watch out for as we continue to listen. Our Painted Family. Aline. Our Painted Family. So first of all, we switched to a quick 3, which kind of helps it just kind of flow a bit more compared to where we were before with the heavy 4/4. So this sequence actually repeats 3 whole times in this track. And the sequence is, first we have Our Painted Family underneath, da 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 da, while the vocals are doing something else. Then it switches to Aline, da 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 da. You can hear that underneath. And then the third section, the vocals actually sing the melody, da 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 da. So let's listen to that again. And keep in mind too that the fact that it's in 3 really helps to propel it forward, because Our Painted Family was previously in 4. It was also used in Our Painted Hatred, which is like the battle version of Our Painted Family. But it appears in 4 as well. It just gives it a totally different feel than being in 3 here. It just adds so much energy and momentum. Our Painted Family underneath. Aline's theme. Our Painted Family again, but now the melody. And that ends our sequence that repeats 3 times in the track. Now, before I move on, please stop and comment right now if you know what I'm about to say about the part we just heard, because I don't think I've heard anyone online talking about it. And when I first heard it, my mind just completely lit up like a Christmas tree. Like, how do I know that? Where is that from? I need to find it. So let me know if you caught that last reference. I will play it again. This part right here. If you know where that's from, comment right now. I really want to know. This is one of the coolest callbacks in the entire game for me. So to refresh your memory of where we might have heard this before, I have to go all the way back to Visage. Let me play this track for you here. It's the track that plays when we fight the anger mask in Visage. And this is such a cool connection on so many levels, but for one thing, if you actually look at this track, which if you're like me, you probably didn't really notice it all that much at first, but it's in English. And the lyrics are, gone away, empty are these chambers that used to beat with embers. That's the part that we just heard. But if you go ahead a little bit, it says, I try to remember the times we shared, the laughter and love that we always shared. He gave his life for mine and I will always mourn. My brother's gone, but his love will live on. It's a total spoiler for the game, except that, you know, when it is presented, you might think they're talking about Gustav or just not even pay attention at all. But it's like literally saying what is going on in the game at this point. And the entire area of Visage is about Verso. So the fact that that's referenced here, when we just had our painted family, we just had Aline, we just had our painted family again, and now we have music that represents Verso, and not just Verso, but Alicia's grief about Verso. It's tying in the entire family into this one little neat sequence. How cool is that? Now that we've refreshed our memories, let's listen to that again. It's the same exact melody. The other neat thing about this is that the text is not the same as the original Visage text. The text is Kasoi dalei moi dane gosei dane. This is the text from Alicia. And even though it's in the made-up language, because it has the analogous French translation in Maël, we know what it actually is saying is, I will always love you, I will still dream, I will still cry. So again, tying that in with the fact that this music is about Alicia's grief for Verso, and is just tied into the whole like family sequence here. So this part here is new material as far as I can tell. It's not referenced anything. However, and this is my headcanon. My headcanon is that the violin often represents Renoir in this soundtrack. This is just my opinion, but we know that the composer has thought about certain instruments representing certain characters. Of course, Clair is represented by the harp and Verso by the piano. When we go to the manor, we see the piano and we see the harp. We see also two violins there. So we know that someone, maybe more than one person in the family, plays the violin. And I think it's Renoir, because a lot of music about Renoir kind of features the violin. So remember back to that scene where we first approached the manor in Old Lumiere, there's this extended violin cadenza, and that's from L'amour d'un père, which is obviously about Renoir. And the second half of that track also has this really long extended violin solo, which, like, why would it be there if it wasn't particularly significant for his characterization? And the other thing, though, that makes me really think that it's Renoir in this sequence, this little violin solo that we hear right here, I believe is representative of Renoir's struggle and his fight against Aline, especially because a few bars later we hear this. Aline's theme. That's just really neat. Again, I might be looking too deep, and this is just my opinion. I'm not asserting that this was his intent, but... just goes so hard. Okay, I just want to talk about that for a second. This section goes so hard. There's a text in here that says, Portrait rêvé imparfait, dream portrait flawed. So if you remember, Portrait imparfait is the name of the battle track in Visage. So it just seems like an interesting phrase to kind of bring back since it has that extra meaning. And also this little chord progression at the end here is very reminiscent of the Alicia chord progression. This sequence here. Aline calling out Verso's name. And then she calls out Verso's name, and then this interjection, which seems significant, because why else would it be there? On both piano and harp, which we just discussed, significant instruments that represent Verso and Clair. So Aline calls out for Verso, and then the two of them are like shouting back to her, like, snap out of it, stop what you're doing and get out. It's super neat. Painted Family, the B section of Painted Family, and now we're back in 4, because before we were in 3. Those leaps. This one feels so impressive here, so operatic. Oh, she's so good. All right, so this section, the text is really neat here. First, we have the male voice, Renoir, singing, at each stroke a part of me, a drawing, a sketch, a life spent painting with you. The future he wants with Aline. And then she sings back, at each stroke his death, ink without him, a drawing, a sketch, a life spent painting without him. It's just so poetic. I can't. It's so good. Now we have the sequence again. Second time. But this time, we had this epic guitar solo. So again, our Painted Family first. Aline. Oh, and we're back in 3. Painted Family. Again. Visage. New section in 4. This is new material as far as I can tell. Now this part here, our Painted Family. So this harpsichord here is playing like a variation on Our Painted Family, the bass line. The harmonic progression is from Our Painted Family, but the melodic line that it's kind of improving on top is kind of reminiscent of Lumiere as well, which is neat because I kind of associate the harpsichord with Simon's music, Simon the Divergent Star, the Phase 1 music. But if you recall, it's also used in the scene where Renoir just kind of obliterates Lumiere. So that's a little interesting connection that my brain made. It's such a neat color change, though. We're back to this 1 flat 2 section that we heard near the beginning. Choir's back. Key change again. Back in 3. Oh, this is the 3rd time we hear this sequence. Our Painted Family. Sorry. This is the 3rd time we hear this sequence, and it just sounds so much more intense now, doesn't it? Victor Borba's voice is just off the charts here. We're back in 3. We're getting so much momentum going forward. I love this note coming up. Aline's theme. Painted Family again. Vocals are different here, though. We'll get back to that. Visage! Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's the most intense version of the 3 times, right? I want to go back a second. So the text for this whole part, by the way, together in Clair Obscur, his memory murmurs, immortal in Clair Obscur, in the void connections last. Then when it returns to Our Painted Family, the text is different this time because previously this section was in the language we couldn't understand. Now it says, Verso, Alicia, Dolorosa, followed by, I will always love you, I will still dream, I will still cry. And it's just so poetic and beautiful. This whole track is infused with so much meaning. It's just absolutely incredible. Hey y'all, I realized while editing that I just mentioned Dolorosa as if everyone knows what that means, so let me back up a sec. This is not a French word, so its use is not meant to be literally translated. It's found in Spanish and Italian and originally from Latin to mean sorrowful, but that's not why it caught my ear. Growing up Catholic, this word is loaded with religious context, as the Via Dolorosa is the name of the path Christ walked to his crucifixion, and it's also often used in the phrase Virgen Dolorosa to refer to the grieving mother witnessing the death of her son. So, you can see the parallels that they're drawing here with these characters. Also, Dolorosa is the name of a track on the soundtrack, the majority of which is not featured in game, just the opening intro, but part of the melodic section is actually quoted in Esquia's music, so that's another really neat Easter egg. This section is like a callback to when she sang out for Verso earlier, but you hear this clicking tick-tock in the background, like time's running out. The diminished scale, contrary motion. And back to this. It's powerful. It gets me every time. It gets me every time, no matter how many times I listen to this. Oh. Anyway, thank you all for coming on this journey with me and patiently waiting for this one. I know a lot of you have been requesting it and I've been wanting to do it, but I wanted to fully explore it first before I came back to it. And it's definitely one of my favorite tracks of the entire soundtrack for sure. So as always, thanks for watching. I'll put my other Clair Obscur videos up here if you would like to check them out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.